Okay, share screen. Share.
Or I can do it.
I think I'm recording.
Okay.
Where does it show if you're recording? Yeah, I'm pretty sure we're recording. You can see that, right?
Yes. Do you want me to start letting people in?
Yeah, go ahead.
Alrighty.
Hello, everybody. We're just entering people in from the waiting room. I'm Jamie Lord. I'm one of the I'm one of the instructional technology facilitators at Lake Norman Charter. I work at the high school. And also on the webinar tonight with me is Marianne Rogowski, and she is the ITF at the middle school.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming. We'll get started in a few minutes.
So we're getting a lot of people joining, which is great. If you're one of the first people on, you're going to hear me say this a couple times, but my name is Jamie Lord. I'm the instructional technology facilitator at the high school. And on the webinar tonight with me is Marianne Rogowski. She's the ITF at the middle school.
Hey guys, we'll get started. Again, you're going to hear this a few times. We're going to get started a few minutes after 5. Throughout the webinar, please feel free to use the chat feature to ask questions as you have them. Some of the questions I'll just answer in the chat, and then other ones I will ask Jamie to answer in person. I do ask that you just go ahead and chat to everybody so that it's not going back and forth, and people can see your answers if you have questions.
So you'll notice you're all muted, and that just helps us. We have a lot of people on a webinar. Background noise starts to get really distracting. So we mute you by default, but you have that chat available. And just know that if we don't answer a question tonight that you have regarding Schoology, you can reach out to us and we will answer your question as best that we can. And I hope that everyone is having good weather at their house. This is Jamie again. It's sounding like there's going to be a thunderstorm here at my house, so I'm hoping my power stays on for the duration of the webinar. So far, so good. So I know that it's 6, but we are going to wait just a few more minutes whenever we do these webinars. We notice that sometimes it takes people a few extra minutes to log in, so we don't want anybody to miss anything. You can be assured that we are recording this webinar and we are going to post it to all of the groups in Schoology, and we will email it out so that everyone can watch it that wasn't able to come in person, or if you wanted to watch again for some clarification on something. So again, my name is Jamie Lord. I'm the Instructional Technology Facilitator at the high school, and Marianne Rogowski is the ITF at the middle school, and we work together we're the Schoology gurus of the school. So you can always email us at any time if you have questions. We do have someone at the elementary school who will be moving into the role to be the Schoology guru, and we will let elementary school parents know who that person is shortly. We just, they're not quite in the role officially yet, so. Just gonna wait one more minute, make sure that everybody is in.
And again, guys, if you are going to ask a question, if you wouldn't mind, just go ahead and ask it of everybody. I will be fielding questions in the chat as we go. I'll answer them to the best of my ability. This is my first year at this job. I've been at the school since 2007, but this is my first year in this role. So I will answer them to the best of my ability, but please go ahead and direct your questions to everyone so that everybody can see the responses and we're not having duplicate questions.
Okay, I think I am gonna start so that we can respect everyone's time, get started and finish on time for all of you. So let me exit this. Okay, so to start off, I know the number one question that everybody has is, how do I get access to Schoology? So if you're a new parent, new to Schoology, or excuse me, new to Lake Norman Charter and you've never used Schoology before, the way that it works is every single child has a unique code, and we will send you that code, and you will go to Schoology's website or their app. You can go on a computer on the website, or you can get the app on a mobile device, and you will create your own account. You as a parent have your own account. And the first question that we'll ask you when you go to sign in is, please enter the code for your student. And either Ms. Rogowski or myself will have provided you with that code that you enter in. If you already have a child at Lake Norman Charter, and maybe you have a second child joining, maybe they got in on the lottery, you would actually click in the upper right-hand corner and click add a child, and there's that code. That code is extremely important. It's unique to your child. So let's say there are 4 parents. Maybe there's a mom and a stepdad and a dad and a stepmom. All 4 parents want access to this child's Schoology. All 4 parents would use that unique code. So you can't share codes. You can't say, oh, I got my code to your neighbor, let me give you it. No, it's unique to your child. And Marianne and I want to apologize. We understand that some of you got your codes, a lot of you didn't. The reason for that is that this summer is very different than ever before, and our state database that they use for students didn't get finished in time from last school year. Everything's about 2 weeks behind it normally was due to the craziness of last school year. And so we don't have all those codes yet. And we are working as hard as we can to get them to you as soon as possible. Just know that's happening, know that's coming. But in the meantime, I think you can still get a lot out of the webinar. So know that we are working very hard to get you that information so that you can set up your accounts. All right, other housekeeping things before I start. I just want everyone to know Schoology does have a mobile app. You can use it on phones and other mobile devices. The app is not as robust as when you use it on a computer like I am. Many of the things that you can do on a laptop, you can't do on the app. So if I were to give you any advice, it would be to check Schoology. If you're really wanting to go deep into things on a laptop, it's fine to use your phone, but know that the app is limited compared to the desktop version. And the app can be a little glitchy sometimes. That's how it's always been with Schoology. So sometimes even on your phone, if you have the app, you might want to go to the web browser on your phone and use Schoology on that, because it just sometimes you can't do things in the app, and that's just the nature of Schoology. And then the last thing before I start the demo is I just want everyone to understand, if you are a parent of a kindergartner, first or second grader, obviously they don't have grades. So some of the things that I'm going to talk about won't really apply to you because your child doesn't get grades. Grades 3 through 12 do receive actual letter grades. So you would want to pay attention to those parts where I talk about grades. But if you're a K-1-2 parent, hey, you'll be there soon enough. Your kids will eventually be getting grades. So it will eventually be relevant to you. Okay. So to start out in the demo tonight, Heather Jenkins is the mom. And if I click up here in the right-hand corner, you can see that under Heather's name, you see Ellie and Ruby. Those are her 2 children. And these are fake accounts that we've created so that we can do this demo for you. So in Schoology, it's like there are 2 accounts because you have a personal account that you've created. You've used your name, your email. And then you can view your child's account. Remember that code, it connects you to your child. So when you're on Schoology like this, you toggle between your account and your children's accounts by clicking in the upper right-hand corner. So if you have multiple children, if you have 5 kids, you're going to see them all listed here when you click in the upper right-hand corner. So I want to start by going to one of the children on this account. What I want you to notice is across the top right here, it says you are viewing as Ruby Walsh. So what Schoology allows you to do is have a window into your child's Schoology. You can't interact with it. You can't do anything. You can't submit an assignment or take a quiz, but you can view the account. So always know that with this, you're just a viewer of the account and you're able to see what it is that your child is being assigned and what grades they're receiving and all different kinds of things like that. So let's go through this view right here and kind of show you what it is that you're seeing. So first off, under student activity, this kind of, Schoology reminds me of a Facebook feed. If I scroll down, I see different things in the feed. So Ruby was doing a lot of work on July 20th and she received grades for different things that she did. And somebody from the school posted this message right here. And here's another message that got posted. And so if I click on more, I see all the activity that's been going on in my child's account. Okay, and it just goes on and on and on, just like a Facebook feed. So that is considered the student activity. And like I said, this stuff that's recent will just kind of get pushed down as more activity occurs. If you look right to the right of student activity, you'll see that it says enrollments. This will show you the courses that your child has. Now, even if we give you your codes and you create your Schoology account and you connect it to your child's, right now enrollments will be empty. That's because we haven't moved to the new school year yet. We're in that summer period where there aren't any courses. So I wouldn't expect for you to see anything there until we officially switch over to the new school year. But this is where you see your courses, and if they have a grade in the course, you would see it listed there. So then we're going to move over to the right-hand side where you kind of see these different boxes. So recent grades is just what it sounds like. you can see that Ruby has had 2 assignments that recently got graded. That's what that number 2 tells you. You can see that she just took 3 tests or quizzes, and there was 1 discussion. So those numbers basically mean that you have not viewed those yet. And as soon as you click on that, that number will go away because you have now viewed it. It's kind of like a notification to tell you that you have something to look at. All right, and then going down, it will show you what your child has overdue. And remember, I said Ruby's not a real child, she's a fake child. So Ruby has a lot of overdue assignments. And the reason that she does is we've been using her as a test case. And so there's a lot of things in here that really are not, you would never see this many overdues for a real student, but with Ruby you do. And if I go down a little bit further on the right-hand side, you'll see the upcoming assignments. And this is really key for kids. A lot of students rely on this heavily because it shows them what is due next by date. And they can kind of see as they work their way down what they have due at any given time. Okay, I'm gonna scroll back up. Across the top, you can click here and you can see all your child's courses. And this is kind of similar to the enrollments view, but it just shows you in this sort of grid format. Then if I move across, you'll see groups. Ruby is a middle school student, so she is in the group called Middle School Student News, and that is information just for middle school students. And then she's also in the class of 2025 because she's going to graduate in that year. And so that's a group that is for information specific to the class of 2025. Okay. And then if I move over a little bit further, I can see grades. And I can click here on what's called grade report. So it's going to show me the students' courses, and to see their grade in a particular course, I click on the course and it will expand out for me and show them their grades. And I can scroll down to see all the grades that they've received. And if it's a regular student, you'll see that each quarter, it'll break it into each quarter and you can expand and look at each quarter. Okay. We do not do attendance in Schoology. We get that question sometimes. So I just wanted to mention that. We do grades in Schoology, but we do not do attendance. So you can't ever see in Schoology what, you know, if your child has a tardy or if they have an absence. And then lastly, I want to show you the calendar. And this is really nice for seeing an overview of what a child has coming up or what they have due. Here we go. So I know there's a lot of stuff due. Okay. So when I look at a child's calendar, I can see big picture what they have coming up. So this is similar to that upcoming section, but it's a calendar view. And I think that a lot of students probably don't always use this. A lot of parents don't always use this. They're used to looking at that upcoming. But I like this view because I think it gives you the bigger picture and the way that you can kind of plan what's coming. And a lot of times this will be color coded. Like if it's something in a course, it's going to be this pink color. I think it shows me down at the bottom actually. Yeah, courses are one color, things that are happening in a group are another color. So for instance, if let's say Ruby was part of an after school club and there was a group for that club and the club advisor put that on the group calendar, that would also show up on Ruby's calendar so that she could know that she has that club meeting. Students can actually add to their calendar if they want. Maybe they have a dentist appointment and mom says, put it on your Schoology calendar so you know you're going to miss math on Tuesday. But I've had parents ask me this in the past. You can't add to your child's calendar. They have to do it. Remember, you're only a viewer. You can't actually do anything to their actual course. So let me just pause there for one quick second and check. Marianne, are you getting stuff in the chat? Oh, okay, she's emailing.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, nothing I haven't been able to answer yet, so we're good. We're still good.
Okay, perfect. All right, so I am going to toggle back to the parent. So I'm going to go back to the parent in this case and show you a couple other things. So remember we talked in the beginning that there's really kind of two accounts. There's your account, and then there's your child's account that you can view. So in the parent view, yours is similar to your child. Here's your recent activity. Of course, if I click on the course dashboard, you're a parent, you don't have any courses, so that's not going to be there. Or excuse me, there won't be anything there. But you can see your recent activity. And so as a parent, what you're mostly going to see here is posts that occur to the groups that you are part of. So for instance, this parent is part of our group called High School Parent to Parent. This is a group that is just what it says. Parents can communicate with one another in this group. This parent is also a member of Middle School Parent to Parent, which tells me they probably have a middle school student and they have a high school student. You can see that, let me find one down here. This is a post to LNC to High School Parent. This is another group that we have, but this one is from the school to parents. So there's no parent interaction in this group. This is purely informational and it gets pushed out to the parents. So if I look up here at groups, I can tell a lot about this parent. If you're a parent that has 2 kids at 2 different buildings, you would actually be a member of these 6 groups, and here's why. So we have a group for every class of group, because sometimes there's things that are specific to a class, especially once they get up in high school and they have all different kinds of things that they're doing customized to their grade level. So both the parent and the student is a member of the class of group. Then, so you have the class of group for one child, the class of group for the other child. Then we have the 2 parent groups. So sometimes there's information that's relevant only to middle school parents that the school needs to send out. So they will send out a message to this group. The school will send out a message to the middle school parents. On the same vein, maybe there's information that only needs to be sent to high school parents. We have a high school group. And then these 2 groups are optional. If you want to connect with other parents, you can join these groups and be part of that community, or arranging carpools. I see a lot of stuff on there. My child left something at school. Did anyone see it? Things like that. And when you get sent your code, that unique code that you will use to sign up, create your Schoology account and connect to your child, in that email, we will give you all the codes to join these groups. So to join a group, you want to make sure that you are on your account. You have to be you in this scenario. You will click on My Groups, and then right here, this blue button, Join Group, and there's a code for every group, and we'll provide those to you. Okay, so let me go back to, go home on this one. Okay, so when you look at your activity as a parent, now there's not a lot happening right now because of course it's summer, but any group that you're involved in, especially the LNC 2 parent groups, we put important dates on the calendar. So you will see in your upcoming any things that have been added to the group calendars. So if I float over this one right here, I can see that the 2nd annual LNC Royal Golf Outing was posted by the high school parent to parent group. And then this is repeated and they put it on the middle school parent to parent group as well. So there are things that duplicate, which leads me into my next section. With all of these groups that exist in Schoology, if you decide that you want to, you can get an email notification every time someone does a post. Now, that can be overwhelming because, of course, if you're in multiple groups and you have multiple children, there's a lot of information. Schools are busy places and there's lots of things we need to tell you. So I want to go over now how you manage those notifications, because if there's one complaint we hear over and over from parents, it's I am getting too much communication. So, and what I mean by that is an email in your inbox saying someone did a post. So there are 2 ways to manage your email notifications so you get the right amount that works for your life. So you click you have to be a you again. Remember, you're a parent in this scenario, so this is your groups and your notifications. So you're going to click right here and you will go to Settings. And on this tab right here called Notifications, you get to decide. Now you're not in any courses, so you would not, of course, go to that section. you get to decide what you want to happen when someone posts a group update. So the default here is on for all your groups. You can customize it and decide which groups you want what from. Maybe some groups you want to know when someone posts an update, and other groups you don't, and that's totally dependent on your preferences. The second one on here, group comments on updates or discussions, is if someone does an initial post, do you want an email if someone replies to that post? Again, you get to decide that for yourself and manage your notifications that work best for you. So I think that there are probably parents who never log into Schoology at all, and they rely totally on the email notifications to find out what's going on. I wanted to show you a second way that you can manage your notifications. So right now, I'm in the LNC to middle school parent group. Maybe I think that this group is really important. It's the one group I want to know when a notification comes out. So within a group itself, I can click on notifications and manage it right from here versus the other way that I just showed you in settings. So I really want everyone to make sure that when you get your Schoology account, get your notifications set up the way that you want them so that you don't feel overwhelmed by email. You just are getting the right amount of information. You can always come to your account in Schoology and scroll through your feed, and you're going to see the same information. So just decide for you what level of communication you want to receive. All right, so moving on, in Schoology, you are able to message parents are able to message teachers. And the way that you do that is you click this envelope right up here and you choose new message. And you would type the name of a teacher that you wanted to send the email to. And as soon as you start typing the last name, it will populate. And then you would choose the teacher, type in your subject and message, and click send. If you want to, you can get email notifications when you get a response. Like let's say you email a teacher and you are waiting on a response. You can get email notifications for these messages as well. So that's back in settings and on the notifications tab. And those are called private messages. So if you want to get an email, if you send an email to, or you send a private message to a teacher, you want to make sure that they, when they respond to you, you can set it so that you always receive an email when you get a private message. So again, really wanted to hammer that point home that you decide and customize for you what it is that you receive as notifications in your email. Okay, so now I want to move on to what's called the Parent Email Digest. So the Parent Email Digest, and I'm going to show you that here, looks like this. And it's something that you can decide to get weekly or daily. And it's kind of a summary of what's been going on with your child. So this is one that this is my daughter from back in May. So it will have your first child up here at the top. And then it will show you the course and what their grade is. And it will show you the last few things that they got grades for. So you can see all their grades, and I get it weekly. And then it will show me what she has overdue. It shows me what she has coming up. And then it's going to show all her recent activities. So these are all the most recent posts from the week that were in her feed. So basically this Parent Email Digest is sort of taking all the stuff we've looked at in Schoology and putting it in one email for you. So it's a lot to scroll. And then your second child, I have twins and they're going to be in 8th grade. Here's my second child. And so I can go through the same thing with him and see all of his grades and all of his information. So parents love Parent Email Digest. So I want to go over how to set that up so that you can receive that. So the first thing that you have to do is actually be on one of your children. And it doesn't really matter who, you just need to be on one of the children. So I'm on one of the kids and I'm going to click here and go to settings. So it's different now. If you notice, when I went to settings, when I was the parent, I had different options versus what I see when I'm on the student. So on the notifications tab, you will see what's called the Parent Email Digest. So as it says right here, you can receive a weekly or daily email report of your child's activity. I do weekly, yes. Daily seems too much for me, but decide for yourself if you want the parent email digest at all, or if you want it weekly, or if you want it daily. So what you do is you turn it on, and then it's going to give you some choices. So are you going to choose weekly or daily? That's up to you. If you choose weekly, what time do you want it to come? And what day of the week? Do you want it to come on a Friday so you know before the weekend, or would you prefer it to come on Sunday night before the school week starts? Totally your call. And then moving down, there is this other option that you get an email when the due date has passed for a submission. So remember, we looked at that overdue section. If you want to receive an email every time your child has an assignment that is overdue, you would definitely want to turn this on. And this is just a simple on or off. There really isn't a choice of this. I think this can sometimes be overwhelming. And the reason that I say that is sometimes students, it's not that they didn't turn something in. Perhaps the teacher put an assignment in Schoology and they didn't submit it on Schoology. Maybe the kids handed in a piece of paper in class. Well, it might show up looking overdue on Schoology when in fact the child turned it in and the teacher just hasn't graded it yet. So you could try this and see, and if you don't like it, you can change and turn off the email notification.
Hey,
So
Jamie,
you do
can
not.
I interrupt?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So there's a question here. I'm not quite sure. Overdue email comes before the due date or after the past date? I think the answer is it comes after it's overdue, correct?
Yep, after the due date has passed. Yep. Yep, after it's passed. So that basically you know, hey, you didn't turn that in. And like I said, sometimes it's because the teacher posted it in Schoology as an assignment and it wasn't something they turned in electronically. Perhaps they had to turn in a piece of paper or something like that.
And then I just want to point out too, from a teacher side, sometimes there are students who turn assignments in. They can resubmit assignments. So if a teacher asks for a correction and they resubmit it, it may show up as late, but that's not necessarily a late assignment in the teacher's eyes.
Yep. Okay. Okay. And you do not have to set, and the only thing is with Schoology, you can't set this up per child. This is for all kids. So if you have 5 kids, then you're setting up the parent email digest and you'll get all 5 kids in one email. And if you're doing overdue submissions email, it's all 5 kids. It doesn't, it's not unique to the kid. That's why it didn't matter if I chose Ellie or Ruby. Basically, both of these, it's going to take me to this same menu. So I've gotten that question in the past as well. Okay. So let me go. I want to show you guys a couple things in terms of your children and what you can see what they're up to. So one thing I like to do, I don't know if anyone's kids do this to them, but I have middle schoolers who spring on me the day of, oh, by the way, I have an after school meeting today and I need a ride or something like that. So I like to check in on their groups. So I think it's actually Ellie who is in this group. So one thing that you can see that your child is involved in is their groups. So I can see right here that Ellie is in book club. So as a parent, I can click into Ellie's group and I can see what's been going on. You know, maybe there's a meeting posted on the calendar. I'm able to see that, or when is their next meeting or things like that. So for me, it's sometimes nice. My daughter was in yearbook this past year and I would ask her some questions that she wouldn't know the answers to. And I would go to her yearbook group. You know, I'd go to my account, go to her and go in there and kind of see, just because they're not always paying attention. Even though she's in this group and she sees the stuff, in a kid's feed, there is a lot happening all the time. So, you know, they can definitely things can get lost in their feed, because in this feed, it's not only the stuff from their groups, but their teachers can post announcements to them. So there can be a lot happening and a lot to keep up with in Schoology. So I like to just sometimes check in, but I have a lot of parents who never log into Schoology and they 100% rely on email notifications and the parent weekly digest to keep up with what's going on. And if that's what you want to do, that's completely fine. It really is up to you how you use this and what's going to work best for you and your family. So let me go back to Ruby. I'm going to show everybody a couple things. Okay. So a couple ways to check grades, which I know is always a big one with parents. So I showed you before that you could click grades and go to grade report, but you can also check grades by going into a specific course. So if I'm in a specific course for my child, over here on the left-hand side, I can click on grades. And it's going to look very similar to what I showed you before when we looked at the grade report, except it's only for this particular class. Okay. What's nice is if I have a question about something that a particular assignment is, from this view within the course, I can actually click on the assignment by clicking on the name of it. And if you noticed, I was on this tab and now it opened a new tab. And you can actually see what the assignment was that the student had to do and get a little more information on it. So I like that because sometimes we'll look at a grade and we'll see the grade and not understand, well, what was this for and why did you get that grade and what did you have to do? So I like the ability to be able to click on things within the course itself and see what it is that the student was required to do. The other thing that I wanted to point out about grades, and you can do this from the course itself or the grade report, is you can see comments. If teachers have left comments, you can see what they are saying. Why did the child get this grade? What was going on with that? So that's kind of a nice feature, is that you can really dig deep and go drill down into what they have in here for their assignments and for their grades. So the other thing I wanted to show you when you're in a course is the section that's called materials. So the materials section is kind of where all of the stuff lives, if you will. And so if you're ever wondering how to find what it is that your child needs to do, we're all probably aware that this year is going to be very unique, and more than likely there's going to be some remote learning happening. So I know a lot of times parents are the ones helping their child navigate. Well, how do you find what you need to find? As a school this year, we made a decision that we're going to organize Schoology in a similar way, K through 12, and we're going to organize it by week. And the reason that we're doing that is for parents, if you've never been in this course before and you don't know where to go and what to do, you definitely know the date. So when you come into, I'm just going to do this folder because I think there's some stuff in it. When you come into a folder, that's where you're going to see all those assignments, the ones that were on the right-hand side in the upcoming, but you can actually see where they are and what it is that your child is supposed to be doing for a particular week or for a particular day. So again, it depends on what level you want to dig down into Schoology, but really it's like you're the kid and you can click on the assignment itself. You can see what it is that was required of the student. You can see if they submitted it. You can even click on this and see what their assignment that they did looks like. So again, so much depth to Schoology that you can see what your child is up to, what they're doing, and what they, oops, go back. What it is that they need to be working on. Let me go back to that course. Oh, it's because I'm back being the mom again.
Jamie, there's a question about the search function in Schoology. So there is a search function, but it's not necessarily helpful for what you need because it does.
This right here.
Yeah.
Don't use it. It does nothing. I don't know why it exists. It's not helpful.
It doesn't let you search by assignment or much of anything. Nope. It really just helps you search help.
Nope, it doesn't help you. It won't help you search. Schoology does not have a search function for your feed. So if you're like, I know I saw a post, but I can't remember when or where, unfortunately, you can't search it. You can't be in a course and search the course. All this does is search like the Schoology public resources that exist, which is never helpful for anyone. I kind of wish they would get rid of it because parents ask me that a lot, and unfortunately, I don't find it very useful. So yeah, the search is there, but I don't think it works terribly well. So okay, were there any other questions that you wanted to?
There were questions about kids and who gets iPads. So it's students in 5 through 12 are issued school iPads. But Jamie, I don't know if you want to say anything more about that.
Right. So our school is what's called a one-to-one school for grades 5th through 12th. So the middle schoolers, the 5th through 8th graders have iPads, and the 9th through 12th graders have laptops. We just feel that when they move to high school, they need a more robust device, more of a productive device. And so they make the switch. And I don't know if I have any freshman parents on tonight, but we try to do a kickoff with them and teach them how to use a laptop. A lot of them they're the generation that they're used to a mobile device and they're not super familiar with a laptop. And we're having to modify that a little bit this year because of the pandemic, but we're still going to get them what they need to get them ready for 9th grade. Did I answer?
Yes, and I have another question I probably can address. Will teachers teach kids how to use Schoology and how to submit assignments specifically for new students, as my students will be in the 1st grade? So the short answer to that is yes. We do have some teacher training coming up for the K-5 teachers on how to use Schoology. Students in K2, I don't believe will be submitting assignments on Schoology. I think it's going to be used more for communication and links to things and bulletin board announcements and things like that. Maybe teacher videos where they're reading aloud, but I don't think they're going to be using it for submitting assignments. But any teacher who is requiring students to be submitting assignments online, for the new students to the middle school, we'll be providing a little bit of a training course for the students, kind of a crash course in how to do different things in Schoology. So that will come when they get their iPads. You will have a link to certain things like how to get into their Schoology accounts. So it'll be a QR code, and then you'll also have information where the students can complete some different assignments in a course so they get used to how to access different things and how to submit things.
And I was going to say all the teachers are aware that this year is unprecedented and everybody's going to be giving everybody grace, because we understand that for the really little kids that have not used devices before or used Schoology, it's all new to them. We're fully aware of that. So are our teachers, and they're going to work with the kids to get them ready and be prepared. They're not, no one's going to expect perfection with this, and there's going to be a lot of trial and error, and that's fine. We're all aware that we have to just get through this as best we can. And most of our teachers are totally understanding about that. So, okay, so I wanted to share a couple things. This is not Schoology really exactly, but it's just really helpful to know for parents. So we talked before about when you're a parent, there are all these groups for you to join. And in the groups, in every group, and we try to keep it the same, it's on the left-hand side here, there's this choice that says resources. And it's kind of small and it doesn't stand out. I wish Schoology would make it bigger, but it's a treasure trove of information because we post tons of stuff in the resources of these groups. So just for instance, the LNC the student handbook and expectations, I think each parent has to sign this every year. This is the high school group. So this high school counseling department, if you click in here, it's all the counseling information. This is how to do carpool if you're new to the school. Where do I come in? Where do I exit? Obviously at the high school we have student parking, and parents want to sign their kids up for driver's ed. So tons and tons of stuff in the resources of the groups that you're involved in. Even here's a document that has all the group codes of all the groups that we have. And additionally, if you call the office and they say you need a form or something like that, that's going to all be in the resources here. So if you ever hear a teacher or someone say to you, well, check Schoology, you probably want to check the resources of these parent groups, because it is going to give you all this information that you need access to. Here's a link to the PayPal. That's how we pay for everything at Lake Norman Charter is through PayPal. So tons and tons of stuff that is listed on here. We do a lunch order program, that's on here. So I would encourage you, whenever you're involved in a group, to always check the resources, because more often than not, you'll probably be able to find what it is that you need in the resources of that group. So I just want to really encourage everybody to join the groups and then manage your notifications. We know that we send a lot of communication out, but at the same time, we don't ever want parents to be without the knowledge that they need to do this, that, or the other thing.
So Jamie, there are some questions about full remote that I'm not sure we can answer because it's K2. So should students submit assignments in Schoology who opt for full remote this year, K2?
That's going to be teacher dependent. I know that for K2, they don't do a lot of assignments in Schoology. Last quarter, fourth quarter of last year when we were remote, they were using Schoology simply as a way to share information to the parents. You know, like do this reading, do this packet, do this work that you got from the school. Parents went to the school and were given packets. They didn't do a lot of submitting on Schoology, as far as I'm aware. But again, if that is something that they are going to want them to do this year, they will walk you through how to do that. There'll be training on that. They will not expect you out of the gate to be proficient with that, and they will give you time to learn that and get proficient with that before it's high stakes.
Okay. And there are also a lot of questions about the iPad versus laptops. So from a user perspective, the website on a laptop or a desktop works much more fluidly than it does on an iPad. Of course, the kids are they'll be very used to accessing Schoology through the app on the iPad, but they can also access the full site through using Safari. So there are quite a few options for how the kids can access that information.
Yeah, and I just want to say, you know, this is like 7th year, I think, that we've had iPads. We all started with iPads initially. The high school even had them. And the teachers really know, oh, you know what, when we're doing this, kids, don't use the app. You need to use Safari. And the kids even start to learn that, like, well, it's not working in the app. Let me try Safari. So they're so adaptable. The kids are great with mobile devices. So we've just learned over time, well, it didn't work that way. Okay, I'm going to try it this other way. The teachers know that, the kids know that. And so let's do a scenario. It's a remote learning situation. Your child's home with their iPad and they're trying to do something and they can't get it to work. The first thing they're going to do is email their teacher, either message them through Schoology or send them an email. And the teacher more than likely will be able to help them. But if not, the teacher will direct that question to Ms. Rogowski because she's at the middle school, and she will help that student however she needs. I know that last quarter, I would jump on a Zoom with a student. I would have them call me if their internet was down. You know, whatever it is that we need to do to get the help to the students is what we'll do. So I want to stress too that we have this tool called Schoology, but you also have all the staff and all the support to use it the right way. So I don't want anyone to ever feel like you're out there on an island and you are not getting supported. Please ask us. We are here to help. And we understand that when you're new, this is a lot, and especially this school year. I keep seeing the, I don't actually have the chat up. It's too hard for me to do the demo and have the chat. So I keep seeing blinking out of the corner of my eye. So I don't know if there's any.
Yeah, sorry, I'm trying to keep up with the questions. Yeah, if you have specific questions to your school about remote learning and things like that, those would be directed to the principal.
Yeah. The principal is, we don't know, honestly. I think that the situation is fluid, and, you know, I think that one thing I can say is that we were told as a staff that just because we start in one plan doesn't mean we stay in one plan. We may move in and out of plans as the school year progresses based on the data that's happening with the pandemic. So it's definitely going to be something that can change. I'm not sure how frequently, but it's not as if we choose one plan and we're stuck in that for the whole year. So hopefully that answered that question. Okay. So those were all the things that I was going to cover because this is level 1 and I don't want to go too much more into Schoology and overwhelm. So if there aren't any other questions, I'm going to wrap up. But if you think of something after the fact that you, oh, I meant to ask that, I should have said that, just reach out to Ms. Rogowski or myself, and we'll be happy to answer your question. And like I said about the codes, we are working really hard to get those ready. And just so you know, behind the scenes, what that means is we didn't have access to the school's database until, I think a couple days ago, and every new student has to be manually entered into it. And until that happens, we can't get the codes. So it's just it's a data entry thing, and everybody's working as hard as they can to do it. And we apologize if all summers you would want this sooner rather than later, but it's just kind of been out of our hands. The kids don't create, I just saw a question. Okay, so with remote learning, will they have live classes through Schoology or, hold on, let me scroll up. Will they have live classes or it will be a blend. With remote learning, it will be what's called blended learning. They might have a Zoom one day, but the next day their teacher says you need to watch this recorded lesson. So it will depend on the day, but it will not be Zoom webinars every day, and it will not be recorded things that they watch every day. So, and I'm going to say this out loud. Students will get their login information when they get their iPads. So their accounts will get created as soon as we get them entered into our state database, and that's how we'll do that. We don't do attendance on Schoology. Well, let me say this. Teachers don't put their attendance into Schoology. Sometimes teachers have to have kids say that they're here on Schoology. So teachers do that in a variety of different ways. Sometimes they'll have a little quiz in the morning that'll say, are you here today, with one question, and the answer, and there's only one answer, and the answer is yes. So basically the teachers decide how they want students in a remote learning situation, tell them that, yes, I'm here and ready to learn for the day. Different teachers do it different ways. Okay, I see another question. When will students be trained? So new high school kids, freshman kickoff, or it's also for new students, is going to be next week. And that information was sent out. I don't remember exactly when the communication came out, but we are doing that 4 days next week, and we are going to give them their laptops. They will log into them, and we will direct them to a training course in Schoology that they will do at home, because we are not permitted to have them in the building right now because we're still in phase 2. And I know Marianne, the 5th grade, has a similar situation going on.
Yeah, sorry, I was just typing it in. So middle school students will have access to a training course that they'll get when they pick up their iPads. And then elementary school students should get information from their teachers. And yeah, the email has not been sent out yet because the way that PowerSchool works is we cannot send out Schoology information until PowerSchool syncs with Schoology. So the state of North Carolina was late this year getting their data to our registrar. So she is diligently working to try to catch up on that. So you will get your codes as soon as we can get them to you is the best answer I can give you there. And then students not new to LNC will use the same accounts that they have always used. So
yeah, so if you have a student who attended LNC last year, you'll know that this summer we didn't collect the devices. We couldn't figure out a efficient way to do that. So we let students keep them over the summer. So they should have the same logins and everything as they did last year.
Yeah. And then for elementary school, the students are not being issued devices as far as I know. So they would be relying on their devices from home. Is that correct, Jamie?
As far as I understand it, yes. I think that that's because they don't do everything electronically. I think that there's a lot of other things that the elementary school kids do. It's not all online. So I think that you could probably, I'm not 100% sure on this, but I think you could expect that there would be some sort of distribution where you go to the school periodically and pick up packets and work like that. And that, what I saw a lot of last year was that, like I said, Schoology was a place where the teacher would post for the week, here's what we're doing for the elementary school student. And it was different activities that weren't all online. Maybe it was read or, different things. So it wasn't as intensively on Schoology as it is for the kids in the middle and the high school.
Yeah, and I think for the little kids, the younger ones especially, they more communicated with the parents what the assignments were, so it wasn't necessarily that the kids needed devices.
Mm-hmm. Is there a kickoff or orientation for kindergarten students? As far as I know, in a normal, yes, in a normal school year, there is always a kindergarten orientation. I would expect that you will be hearing about that in the next week. I think I saw that the elementary school principal said on Schoology, actually, which I know you're not on there yet, just the other day, that people should be getting their letters, like from their homeroom teachers, that'll outline all this stuff for you. You'll get a letter from your homeroom teacher telling you everything that you need to know. So the elementary school is really good with that, and I know they're working hard to get those to you guys really soon.
And then as far as the new kids in general, that's going to be largely dependent on the teachers in the classroom. So the middle school, for example, I know they have a lot of plans for how to kind of acclimate the newer kids and teach the kids how to use different features. And like I said, for kids picking up iPads, and then for also Jamie mentioned for the freshman kickoff, there will be some training provided to the students to kind of give them a heads up. And you guys, you can always contact us if you have issues. Your students will be able to email us if they have problems. We will have regular office hours and things like that where we'll be available for helping you out.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I want to just stress, and when I get the freshmen, the ninth graders in front of me when we do kickoff, which this year it's going to look different, but I say to them, you're in ninth grade now and you need to advocate for yourself. And sometimes advocating for yourself is just asking someone for help. So I would say the same thing to all you new parents. Don't be afraid to ask us for help. That's why we're here. We want you to be successful. We don't want you to be frustrated. So please ask. We are happy to answer questions, or if we don't know, we'll get you the answer or get you to the person that can help answer your question.
Yeah, and if you are not new to LNC, so you've been here before and you don't have a code for Schoology, depending on the school, you can either email Shelly DeVito, Jamie, or myself to get your child's code.
So I have a question. If your child was here last year, but you didn't get the code, just email. If it's a middle school student, email Marianne Rogowski. And if it's a high school student, Jamie Lord, and we can send you the code. Yeah, I have parents, all the parents email me, my kid's gone here for 6 years and I never joined Schoology, but I decided to now. So, and I have the code, which is fine.
And then the email for students to pick up the iPads for the new middle school, we actually have a meeting about that this week. We're trying to figure out the best procedure for that. So we should be sending something out shortly. And I mentioned, somebody asked this question earlier, we're aiming for an August 3rd distribution date. So we definitely want to get them to the kids at least a week before school starts so that we can help them to learn some things about how to use Schoology and how to access their assignments.
So back to the codes, when are we gonna, for rising kindergarten, first, second, third, we have all new students in all grades. We don't have all the codes yet. And as soon as we get them, we're hoping next week. We don't have a hard and fast date. We're entering stuff in as quickly as we can. And as soon as it's in, we will email it out. We're hoping for next week. I just sent to the chat my email address. Jamie Lord is at the high school.
Yep, I'm doing the same.
Oh, I did yours too, actually. So yeah, and when we first started the webinar, I mentioned Shelly DeVito. She's actually a teacher at the elementary school, and she might be moving into the role of a facilitator, and so she's going to be taking on that role. But she's new to that role, so if she's not able to answer your question, you can always reach out to one of us. So we did record this webinar. We will send it out. We will post it in Schoology, which again, I know you're not all on there, but if you want to go back to it at a later time once you are. And we have what's called a level 2 webinar on Thursday. On that one, I'm going to go deeper into grades and how you tell a little bit more details about what's been submitted and what this symbol means and how do I see what my child did. So it's kind of level 2, but you may want to table that for now because it might be too overwhelming. So, but I just wanted to put that out there. Okay. Thanks to everybody for attending. We appreciate it. And reach out if you have any other questions. Looks like
thank you guys. We appreciate you showing up, and we're here for you and to help get you guys started.
Awesome. Okay. Have a great night, everybody.
All right. Good night.